What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I did it again. I bought another car, but this time I did something I typically don't do, and I bought this Chevy 2500 off of Craigslist. That's right, this did not come from Copart. This actually has a clean title, and it came from a regular Joe that got himself a much newer truck and decided to let this one go. And then that begs the question, what am I going to do with the Ford? And why did I buy a Chevy when I already had a Ford? Why did I buy a two-wheeler? Oh, there's so many questions that I got to answer. I've seen the comments on Instagram. Believe me, we're going to jump into that right now. So to get started, the main question is, why did you buy a Chevy when you already have a Ford? Why did you buy a Chevy that's only two-wheel drive? That's junk. The Ford is better. Let me tell you something, folks. After taking the old F-150 and pulling cars for about 5 hours the other day with it, it quickly became apparent that this thing just doesn't have the cojones that I need to be pulling cars on any type of a regular basis. It's just too hard on this engine to be pulling. And here's another thing. This truck is four-wheel drive, and that's one of the things I really like about it. It's also one of the things I really hate about it. Unless you're going to be really using four-wheel drive on a regular basis, I don't recommend buying a four-wheel drive truck. I don't typically go mudding. I don't typically have tons of snow or ice around here. A four-wheel drive is, quite honestly, it's just overkill. Four-wheel drive adds a lot of weight. You got extra components on the transmission. You've got a front drive shaft. You've got a front differential. You've got front axles. There's a lot of additional parts that go into making a truck four-wheel drive instead of two-wheel drive. So that adds weight, and more importantly, that adds components that are just waiting to break down on you at any given moment. So I decided I needed something that was more capable of towing. And yes, I could have gotten a Ford F-250, and believe it or not, I actually tried to. I bid on Copart. I bid on multiple trucks. These things I bid up to $7,000 and I was outbid. And these are trucks that are salvaged. 2011 Ford F-250, I bid on that yesterday. Well, not yesterday for you guys, but yesterday for me. I bid on a 2011 F-250 that had 179,000 miles on the clock. It had serious damage to the bed. I showed it in my Copart walk-around video. It was white, and it looked like it took a pretty good hit to the back or something. That thing went for over $7,000. There was a Chevy 2500 I also bid on, salvage also. That thing went for over $10,000. And by the time I was done at the auction, we did win something at the auction. Stay tuned for that. But by the time I was done bidding on trucks at the auction, I was like, dude, forget about it. So I bought this. This is a Chevy 2500. This is not the HD, at least I don't think it is. Some people say you can tell by the lug nuts or something. I don't know what's this got, 8, 2, 4. Yeah, this has got 8 lugs. You'll have to tell me. I don't believe it's an HD because I think HD actually says HD right on it, and this does not. So I think this is just a regular Chevy 2500 truck. And the reason I got this was it was very reasonably priced. It was $4,000. Now, I bought that, if you guys remember, from salvage auction. This came from Copart up in Tulsa, and I bought it for $1,500 out the door. It had pretty serious suspension damage. And I think to date, I only have maybe $2,500, maybe $3,000 tops into this truck with a whole new suspension, new shocks all the way around, 4 new tires, and the thing has been great. I've actually driven it 3,000 miles, almost on the dot, 3,000 miles since I bought this truck. I got a great deal on this truck, and I've got around $3 grand in it, probably a little bit less, so I cannot complain at all about the price I paid for this. Here in Oklahoma, I'll put this truck up for $4,800. This thing will sell for $4 grand, easy. And there's a few people that are telling me I'm selling it too cheap, but $4,000, this thing will go easy for $4 grand. I bought this for $4,000. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm trading this truck for this truck. This has the 6.0 liter. It's the two-wheel drive version, as I mentioned. It's got the bumper that I really wanted for that truck, and this bumper is like $1,200 to $1,500. That's an expensive bumper. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same ranch hand bumper that I was gonna get for this truck. And I asked Ranch Hand if they would actually sponsor the bumper, and they got back to me and said they were considering it. Then they never bothered getting back with me again. So that's fine, because I got a $1,200 bumper on this truck for free. And I love it because For you four-wheel drive, oh, I about fell. I about fell. I'm gonna leave that in there. I about biffed it. For you four-wheel drive people out there, hey, this is a lifesaver right here. If I go out and get me a winch that mounts right here, I can literally go have some fun, do some puddle jumping, and if I get stuck, I just use a winch to get myself out. I don't need 4x4. Now, truthfully, guys, I rarely ever go in the mud or anything, so I don't need a four-wheel drive. It's nothing but added weight, and as bad as fuel economy is on these bigger trucks, it gets even worse when they're four-wheel drive. So this thing has a lot of miles, and I had a lot of people telling me, oh, Randy, you could have got it cheaper. Well, I'll tell you what, I want you to do me a favor. Actually do the research before you comment, because I did. Go onto Craigslist and go onto Facebook Marketplace in Oklahoma City. Look up a 3/4 ton to a 1 ton pickup truck, 2 or 4-wheel drive, doesn't matter. And I want you to check out the prices on these things. All right, because these things are very expensive out here. Don't know why, but trucks out here are very, very expensive. It does have some damage. Here we go. It's got a nice crunch in the bed right here. I mean, honestly, it's really not that bad. This is something that could be pulled out for the most part, and it could be fixed. This is totally fixable. A slight dent right here. Again, very fixable. And then we got a scratch, a pretty good scratch going down over here. And this is just paint transfer, so that'll come off. That's it. The rest of the truck is gorgeous, and it has paint. That's another thing I like about this truck. It actually has shiny paint. This one has the clear coat peeling off of it everywhere. So this truck looks a whole lot better. Now, this truck does have 250,000 miles on the odometer. And I know there's a lot of you out there saying, man, that's too many miles. That truck's junk. It's horrible. Well, I can tell you this. I drove it on the highway. I bought it, jumped straight on the highway, drove it an hour home, and I didn't have any real problems with it. No check engine lights, no issues at all. It does leak a little oil. Looks like the valve covers are leaking. We'll pop the hood for you real quick, and we'll show you the interior real quick as well. It's got a gorgeous interior. Keep in mind, this is a 2004. It's older, and it's got 250,000 miles on the clock, but no cigarette burns. In fact, doesn't look like a cigarette was ever smoked in this thing at all. No cigarette burns up here. These are things you look for. And of course, this tells me it's probably owned originally by an older person. It's got 33 service records, so it was extremely well maintained by the dealer up until a couple years ago when it was turned into a farm truck. But the dashboard is absolutely perfect underneath. Look at this. Even the center console is in good shape. And she's a good looking truck. Now, as I said, it is older and it's going to need some maintenance. That's to be expected. But for $4,000, I'm happy. It's also got LED side mirrors. I'm pretty sure that's not factory. I don't think they had those in 2004, but still, I really like those LED side mirrors. And the 6.0 liter, it is a workhorse. This is an engine that was just made to work, man. It loves to work. And I've had a lot of people ask me why I went gas instead of diesel. And the answer to that is very simple. I don't know anything about diesel. Nothing at all about diesel. And when I was looking at some of the F250s, F350s with a 6.0, I read a lot of horror stories about head gaskets popping on those, and you need to get them bulletproofed. And on those Fords, you got to take the cab in order to do like head gaskets, major engine work. The cab has to come off the truck so you can work on the engine. I watched some videos of some people that were doing just that, and I said right then and there, that's not for me. Now, you ain't about to see me pulling a cab off a truck so I can do some engine work. That's ridiculous. Now, this truck, another reason I like this truck, it's easily serviceable. This truck was still built in a day when they allowed people to work on their own vehicles, you know what I mean? This one right here, you can work on it, but it's overhead cam. I don't like overhead cam. You want to do a full tune-up on this, you got to remove the fuel rail assembly, or at least pull the fuel rail assembly out of the way. It's just an extra pain in the you-know-what that is just unnecessary. On this truck, the spark plugs are right here. They're right there. You want to change the valve cover gaskets? No big deal. Pull off the coils, take the center bolts out of the valve cover gasket's right there, which, by the way, it's leaking oil all down the valve covers. You probably can't see it, but it's definitely leaking oil down the valve cover. So we got to do the valve cover gaskets on. This truck is easy to work on. Parts are plentiful. It's old enough that parts are they're easily available. I don't know if you can see down here. We definitely got oil leaking. But look at those spark plugs, man. You don't get any easier than that. This truck is easy to work on. I can go to just about any junkyard and find parts for it. Even LKQ, man. You can go out to LKQ, find a motor or transmission for this. Two-wheel drive transmissions are cheaper to rebuild. They're easier to replace. The gentleman that owned it kept the oil change. It's got fairly clean oil in it. I'm about to send it down to Firestone here in just a little bit. We're going to do a tune-up on it, the basics. You know, change out the fluids, change the air filter, change the spark plugs, and probably those little coil to plug wires right there. By the way, air conditioning is ice cold. The tires are just gone. As you can see right here, there's like nothing left of these tires. So we're gonna go get probably the same Primewell Valeras, but instead of the ATs, since I rarely use it for any off-road applications, I think I'm just gonna go get the regular street tires for it, because I may use this to haul cars out of state. You know, we'll talk about that in the future, but I got some plans for it. I like this bumper. We'll fire it up for you, let you hear it. And like I said, 250,000 miles, that doesn't scare me at all. There you go. And see, the airbag light is off right now. That's the seatbelt light that's on down there, but the airbag light has an intermittent failure. I already read the codes on it, and it does come up as an intermittent failure with some communication. Like I said, not overly concerned about that right now, and I have had it idling, but it's getting 15.2 miles a gallon. I hear a little bit of an exhaust rattle down here. That's okay, because we're going to change out the exhaust. We're going to put some Flowmaster 40s on it. Yes, sir. Here's the underbelly, underside of it. Had a lot of people tell me they were concerned about rust. In Oklahoma, we don't get rust, guys. You don't have to worry about rust here. And this truck's been in Oklahoma since it was brand new. Yeah, the muffler, I can see the shield. You hear that rattle? The shield on that muffler right there is rattling. I can see it. I could probably grab it and... But as far as anything other than surface rust, I know a lot of you see the video, you're like, rust everywhere. There's rust everywhere. That's not rust, guys. That's surface rust. That's not rust. Just surface rust, nothing serious to worry about. You will get some paint flaking and peeling in some places, not on the body. The body's actually perfect, but under here, you get a little bit of paint flake and stuff. Take a look underneath. And you see what I mean. Even the exhaust. You're looking at factory exhaust right there. Frame rails. There's nothing on this truck other than just surface rust that you would find on any truck. Now in the back, it's got I'm not sure what all this is, but the guy told me these are fifth wheel rails for pulling a fifth wheel trailer. And I think there is a reversible gooseneck or something down there, right there. I'm not going to climb into it. And then of course you got your traditional receiver hitch right there and your plug. It's got trailer brakes already installed. I'll probably upgrade them because I've got a brand new trailer brake unit I never installed. It's got a real nice aluminum box that I think I'll just sell. I think I'd really rather have the space in the bed than the box. I don't think I'll ever really use the box, but it's got a really nice toolbox with it. And yeah, this is the extent of the damage. It needs tires. It's definitely going to need a tune-up, change some of the fluids, tranny and stuff like that. But and it may need some suspension work. I don't know. It seems to ride and drive pretty well. Definitely needs front brakes. When you hit the brakes, it gets a heck of a vibration to it. So it's all minor stuff, guys. All minor stuff. But listen to that 6-liter purr. So as much as I've really enjoyed this F-150, and you can see the F-150 sits higher. The F-150 is a tall truck. It really is. This one sits much lower to the ground. you know, personal preference there, I guess, but I do love this truck, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm a Ford versus Chevy guy. That's not the case at all. This truck has done very well by me, and for the money I spent on it, this has been a great truck, and I have no doubt it's going to continue being a great truck for somebody else. I still got to get the steering wheel straightened out. Steering wheel's still crooked because I got the pitman arm installed on the gearbox about 15 degrees off. Yeah, so this is about straight on this thing. I've driven it 3,000 miles, like that hasn't affected anything, but I do need to get that straightened out. 162,000 miles on the clock on this one. No check engine lights. This one also has cold AC, hot heat, the radio works, all the windows work. Really, there's nothing wrong with this truck at all. It works absolutely great. The only issue I have with it is it's just, it can be a little scary when you're trying to pull 8,000 pounds behind you and get onto the interstate. When there's traffic, it's difficult because now once it's cruising, once you're on the highway and you're moving, oh man, this thing, it just cruises. It pulls so smooth. But it's just weak in the power department. That's really what it is. You know, when I'm trying to get on the highway or if I need to speed up with a load on it, ding, 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 it's difficult. Four-wheel drive works. Everything works on this, and I think we're gonna put it up for. We'll start it out around 4,800, and the goal is to get somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000. And I think this truck will bring it all day long. I don't think we'll have an issue getting $4,000 out of this. I think it's a fair price. It's got a clean interior. The paint peel, which I've always hated, but it does have nice new tires, meaty all-terrains, and it still has the damage from that accident that I got it from Copart. A little bit of fiberglass damage there, a little bit there, a little bit of scraping down the door here. That's pretty much it. It's been a great workhorse, and I've really enjoyed it, but it's time to send it to a new home, and I've got new running boards for it too. I also need to change out the running boards. This one's fine, but this one took a slight hit in the accident as well, and it damaged it. And I've got the new running boards for it. I just need to get those installed. Yeah, new control arms, new shocks, new ball joints, new tie rods, inner and outer, new sway bar links, new pitman arm, new idler arm. I went through the suspension on this thing because I wanted to make sure it was nothing, new drag link. I want to make sure nothing from the accident was left on this truck. There's one other thing that I really like about the Chevy. It has a bigger bed. Yeah, no more 5.5 foot bed. We actually have a bigger bed that I can fit more stuff in. I've had a few occasions where carrying something, I got something hanging out the back here. This will help with that. It also looks like this thing has a bigger cab as well. The Chevy has a bigger cab than the Ford does. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's personal preference, guys. So many of you on Instagram and stuff were just leaving comments. God, people started arguing and fighting with each other. Ford sucks, Chevy sucks, Dodge sucks. Look, man, all cars have their problems, all right? All of them. I don't care what car it is. It's going to have problems. That's just the nature of the beast. I'm not going to sit here and do Chevy versus Ford. What I can tell you for certain right now is that Chevy 2500 is built to do what I need a truck to do. The Ford F-150 is not. It's not made for this. It's not made to regularly be pulling and hauling cars. It's a half-ton pickup truck. Sure, you can put it to work, but and keep in mind the thing's got 167,000 miles on it. All right, so it's an older truck. It's got some mileage on it. It's not the truck that it was when it was brand new. And hell, neither is this one. But this one's got more torque, more horsepower. It's a bigger truck. It's got heavier springs in the rear end. This truck is made for what I'm going to be doing. And that's what I went with. So like the decision or not, that's what it is. We now have another red Chevy. And I'm telling you, I didn't pick the color. I didn't care what color it was. I was looking for the cheapest Chevy pickup truck that was still in reasonable condition that could get the job done, and that was it. And I only wanted Chevy this time because of how much of a pain in the you-know-what it is to do spark plugs. Simple maintenance stuff on this is just, come on, man. I love the old push rod engine. I can change heads on this, head gaskets. It's easy to do work on this truck. and I prefer things to be easy on my vehicles. So I went back with a Chevy. That's really all there is to it. So while you're seeing this video, I'm down in Louisiana, down in the bayous. I'm probably somewhere in Shreveport right now. Yeah, you guys thought I was right here doing this? No, man, I'm taking a 3-day vacation down in the bayous. So I'm gonna get out of here, but hey, I know you guys are gonna flame. I know there's gonna be hateful comments. People are gonna be angry and upset. Please, guys, you spend your money on whatever you want to, and I'll spend my money on whatever I want to. We can all just live happily ever after, coexist, and all that other good crap, right? Comment below. Tell me what you think of the 250,000-mile Chevy truck versus the 167,000-mile Ford F-150. Do you think I got a good deal? Do you think I made a good decision? Some of you are going to say, I can already predict it, Randy, you could have got that truck in Michigan for half the price. Or, Randy, you could have got that truck in New York with half the miles for the same price. I don't want a truck like this from Michigan or New York. An 04? No thank you. 15-year-old truck from the Salt Belt? No, you can keep that. You can keep that. No offense, but you can keep that. I don't want nothing to do with that. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I got to get this thing to Firestone, get some new tires and some fluids changed on it. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you very soon in the next one.